Welcome to Friday Nights at the Parrish Art Museum. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It means so much to us in these challenging times for all of us. My name is Chris Seifert. I am the interim director of the Parrish Art Museum. I'd like to introduce my friend, Nishan Kazazian. I met Nishan when I was sitting in my office. I can't remember how long ago it was now. It must have been right around the early parts of the pandemic, I think. And Nishan came and was walking around the parish enjoying our great outdoors. I think the slides started. Thank you. And he's knocking on my window of my office. So you have to go say to somebody, hi to somebody when they're knocking on your window, right? And now he's become a great friend and a great participator in different things here at the Parrish Art Museum. Nishan Kazazian is an artist and licensed architect, lives and works in Manhattan and East Hampton. His art is about expressiveness, resilience, endurance, transformation, and rejuvenation, all things I think we can connect with these days. His architecture engages with social, societal, environmental, and functional needs. Kazazian aims to transform and blend the boundaries of art and architecture to create an osmotic relationship between the two disciplines. A former Fulbright Fellow, he is a member of the American Institute of Architects and earned a master's degree in architecture from Columbia University, a master's in art and art education from Teachers College at Columbia University, and a bachelor's of fine arts with distinction from the American University of Beirut. Kazazian has been an invited critic both in art and architecture circles at universities in the US and abroad. His artwork is presented in galleries in the US and abroad as well, and his architectural work is published in many, many magazines. Please welcome Nishan Kazazian.
Thank you, Chris. I would like to thank Jennifer Duque for inviting me to present here tonight at the parish, which I have always thought of as one of the great architectural spaces to experience art and their surroundings. I would like also to thank particularly Chris Seifert and Corinne Ernie. Thanks to Alicia Longwell and the entire staff for holding the museum together through these difficult times. And finally, I offer a heartfelt welcome to the new director, Kelly Taxter. I wish her great success in her new role. Since high school, both art and architecture have been my driving passion. Through my life, my work in both disciplines have been affected by personal experiences, history and cultures, family and community, interaction with my teachers, colleagues, mentors, and students, and living in the social and political environments in which I found myself. The ways in which all these come together are visible in what I call art and architecture synergy, from personal to universal. Thanks for coming. This artwork, 2017, is from my Conundrum series. The multi-layered spaces allow multiple interpretations. By breaking and putting pieces back together, they represent experiences of falling, rising, resilience, and personal transformation. Undergrad at the American University of Beirut, 1971. The real, its shadows and reflections have always intrigued me. They are open to multiple perceptions. The sculpture below of split form represents belonging and not belonging, being separate but also connected. New York, 80s. These artworks are experimentations with different materials. On the left, newspapers. On the right, foam core. These experiments and explorations led me to discover other materials to work with later on. I was breaking and putting things back together since my youth. Later, I surprisingly discovered the Japanese practice of kintsugi, repairing broken ceramics. By emphasizing the object's breaks, the repaired piece has more beauty and history than the original. 90s, single plane unfolding, generating new planes within the form, is interpreted ambiguously. Each possibility coexisting with the other creates a sense of puzzlement on how to experience the object and space, as in Japanese origami and Chinese kirigami. I call these pieces landfill dialogues, discarded objects wrapped in clay to create the impression of humanoid forms. Think of them as our trash, talking back to us about our excess and its effect on the environment. 80s and 90s, explorations in different mediums. The white construction box is of discarded pieces from SOM's architectural model shop, repurposed to become one of 16 artworks in my first one-man show in Nantucket called Iron Nerves Floating Altars. Photo installation juxtaposes East Hampton's Hook Pond with Native American images. I look at the pond, imagining its history and memories being communicated to the present through these fragmented forms, creating a dialogue with both nature and the past. How does my artworks nourish my architecture? I imagine this virtual aquarium 2009 in Beirut, Lebanon. Virtual because undersea cameras around the world send satellite imagery of sea life, which are then projected onto the solar panels which form its shell. Healing Center, Yerevan, Armenia, 2014. Modern structures integrated with historic architectural elements from Caucasian and Middle Eastern cultures, as well as remnants of archaeological elements. A consolidated central structure allows the surrounding area to preserve its natural habitat. Amphibian Concert Hall, 2017. The impact of waves and tides when touching the structure triggers sound and light response patterns, experienced both inside and outside of the structure. When this feature is turned off, regular performances occur without distractions. Alternative Zoo, 2019. Living in New York, we hear about global environmental changes. In this zoo, wildlife images from 5 continents project onto structures on Hudson. Images of melting glaciers are projected from the North Pole and Antarctica into the buildings. The zoo creates a global interactive involvement with wildlife throughout the world. New technologies provide experiences akin to conventional zoos, avoiding maintenance and animal cruelty. Holograms provide experiences of interacting with animals. Small House, East Hampton. My approach to the synergy of art and architecture integrates artworks as exterior and interior walls. Plexiglass sculptures become pergolas and railings. The goal is to blend expressiveness and functionality. Fanciful solutions to global environmental issues, erosion and energy usage. These artistic structures can serve as aesthetically satisfying erosion barriers and fantasy solar panels. As Freud put it, dreams are often most profound when they seem most crazy. Capricious settings are also adaptations of my handmade artworks to computer software. Beyond functioning as aesthetically satisfying environmental solutions, they are multifunctional spaces for play and contemplation, providing escape and fantasy. Shifting shadows and transparencies enable the viewers to see through the hidden other. These artworks reflect experiences of upheaval of personal and global turmoil. Yet, despite all that, the message is one of endurance, survival, rejuvenation, and celebration. Fragmented landscape invite viewers into collaborative interaction to create personalized experiences. They embrace paradox and defy categorization and labels. They are the young in the old, the feminine wrapped in masculine and vice versa, the wise wrapped in folly, strength wrapped in vulnerability. This pandemic changed how I looked at things. The change in lifestyle and confinement profoundly reconfigured relationships. This example, summer 2020, East Hampton, illustrates how we walked around like a chicken with its head cut off while everything was upside down. This flag from my pandemic series is made of used and discarded rubber gloves I wore early in the pandemic. Clothespin hold them together. Just as in those early days, it felt like the social fabric was fraying and barely holding. Like the American dream, the work embodies resilience and optimism about the future, even when it feels like everything is falling to pieces. Hopefully, collective experience will bring us together, striving to global humanism, coexisting with nature and environment together. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishan. Where to begin? What resonated with me, I think, was sort of this one phrase that you had in there, nature and the past. It's a really wonderful way to kind of a poetic way to think about being separate but connected. And I also understand the idea of breaking things and putting them back together over time. I think that's really just right to the point. I really found, I wish you many more dreams of profoundness and craziness. We could talk for a long time together, couldn't we, Nishan?